Let me record on this. Okay. So, welcome everyone, all two of you. Let me just kind of go through, this is a review for our exam 2 for Finance 3250. I'm going to read down a list of things that will hopefully help you prepare for the exam. First, I'll tell you what the structure of the exam is. There are 15 multiple choice questions. Each of those questions is worth 5 points each. And so 14 of the 15 multiple choice questions require calculation. And you'll need your financial calculator for all but one of these, I think. And I'll talk about the different types of calculations you need to be prepared to do. Each of these 15 multiple choice questions is worth 5 points each. I think I mentioned that. You need to be able to calculate different, when we're doing our time value of money, you can either calculate payment or present value or future value, number of periods, or the interest rate. And so each of those, you should be ready and prepared to calculate. Now with time value of money, all you need to do, you need to know 3 or 4, if there's payment included, 3 or 4 of the numbers. If you already know those, then you can calculate the last one. And so each of those is a problem very similar to the quizzes. So if you can do the questions on the quizzes, most likely you'll be able to do well on the exam. One other area that you need to be familiar with and comfortable with is calculating the effective annual rate, the EAR. And I went through on last week's review and training on the calculator. I went through how to do that on the calculator. I can think of at least 3, I think there are 3 problems that require you to calculate EAR in the multiple choice. So in addition to your normal time value of money buttons, you need to be familiar and comfortable with calculating the effective annual rate. Also, there's one question that requires you to calculate the perpetuity. And a perpetuity formula is super, super easy, but just make sure you're familiar with that. Okay, so that's the multiple choice problems. And once I'm done telling you what's on the exam, we'll do some practice problems here in just a second. But if you've got questions, then please let me know as we go through this, what questions you might have. Okay, so those are the multiple choice. Then we've got questions 16 through 19, so 4 questions that are multi-step time value of money problems. Each of these on the exam are going to be similar to one of the multi-step problems that are found within the lecture slides. So either one of the examples that we actually went through in the lectures or one of the practice problems at the end. Okay, so those multi-step problems, some of them are time value of, well, all of them require time value of money. One of them is an amortization schedule, so you need to know how to calculate an amortization schedule as well. Okay, so, and we'll do, on this review session, we'll do a few of those multi-step problems that are at the end of the lecture slides to make sure that you're familiar with them and comfortable with them. And then the last 2 questions, questions 20 and 21, are short answers. The short answers are worth 5 points each, and those are conceptual. They do not require calculation. The multi-step problems, which were questions 16 through 19, are worth 10 points each. And as I've mentioned before, with those problems, the multi-step problems, you are going to be able to fill in a text box online. So show as much of your work as you possibly can, because even if you get the answer wrong, if you've done work and show it, then I have something to give you some at least partial credit for. And so make sure you fill that in on those multi-step problems. Okay, any questions about the structure of the exam?
Nope.
I'll take that as a no. Okay, so let's jump into some practice problems. And for the three of you who are on the call, I'm going to ask you to participate. So get your calculators out, be ready. And I will go ahead and let's start with a few. Actually, before we jump into that, let me ask the question, do any of you have questions about any of the questions on the quizzes?
Nope.
Okay, so as we go through this review session, if you do find that you remember that there's a question on the quiz that you were uncertain on how to do or struggled with, please just let me know and we'll do that. Okay, so I'm going to share lecture number 6 right now. And let's see. So this is actually, you know what? I've got the answers open. So let's just go there. So these problems are at the end of the lecture slides, and we'll do a few of them from lecture 6. Then we'll do a couple from lecture 7, and we'll end with a couple from lecture 8. The ones in 8 are the multi-step, so they're a little bit more challenging. So I think we'll try and spend more time on those. But as I mentioned, please have your calculators ready, and we'll work on them together. So let's start with answers from lecture 6. Okay, so let me share this. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got the question, and let me just hide the answer for a second. Okay, so the question is, and on the test, it's not going to tell you what you need to calculate, but in these end of lecture problems, it tells you right at the beginning what you're trying to find the answer for. You're trying to find the present value for this. However, a lot of the questions on the exam will say, it'll give you the story problem, and then it'll ask the question, you know, what is the present value? And in this case, it says the same thing. As has been mentioned in the slides, the most challenging part of time value of money problems is not the actual calculation. The most challenging problem is reading the words and figuring out exactly what they're trying to get us to calculate. And so so let's just read through this one together real quick. It says, Kilroy's Inc. has an unfunded pension liability of $225 million that must be paid in 17 years. Okay, so what it's saying is this company has to pay some of its employees in 17 years. It needs to have $225 million ready to pay out in pension to its employees. So we already know that that's the amount that we need in the future. And so we can look at that and know that that's the future value of 225. To assess the value of the firm's stock, financial analysts want to discount this future liability back to the present. So somebody's trying to see what this liability is worth today. If the relevant discount rate is 8.5%, what is the present value of this future liability? Okay, so let's take a look at this. So whenever I'm doing these basic time value of money problems, first I look and see does it need a timeline? This one really doesn't, because it doesn't have ongoing payments. I mean, all we've got is, we've got 17 years from now, we're going to owe $225 million. So what is the present value of that $225 million? So the things that we already know, I always write down, what do I know? We know the future value, we know the interest rate, and we know the time frame, right? Okay, so what is the future value?
$225 million.
Yeah, so 225, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that is our future value. And what is our interest rate?
8.5%.
8.5. When we're using our calculator, we're going to put it in whole numbers. And then N, what is N?
17.
17. Good, good. Okay, so using this, we're trying to figure out what is the present value. This is the answer we're trying to get. Okay, so let's use our calculators. And make sure you clear your register, meaning clear out your time value of money. So hit second and then hit the CLRTVM button. So I cleared that out. So now I'm going to type 225,000,000, and I'm going to hit the FV button for future value. Then I'm going to hit 8.5, and I'm going to hit the I over Y button, and then I'm going to hit 17 and hit the N button, and then I'm going to hit the compute button, CPT and present value. Okay, so what did you guys get?
56.22 or 21.
Okay, so yeah, so in this case, it's 56 million, right?
Yeah.
And if we wanted it to just be 56.22 million, that is correct. Or we could write the whole thing out, 56,218,204.24. Okay, so that is what the liability is worth today. And so in this story problem, the financial analysts would take the value of the firm and subtract this amount from it because the company owes this money. But that's the point. Okay, so what is the dollar price discount that is appropriate for this liability? Okay, so we are just looking for the present value. That's the answer. So let's see, how did we do? The answers. So here they drew a timeline, very simple timeline. So we're trying to figure out what the present value is, and we know it's 225. So 56.22 million is the present value. Okay, any questions on how we got to that?
Nathan, my answer was negative for some
Yeah.
reason.
Okay, so this is something to do with the calculator. So when we put the future value in as a positive number, then the present value come out as a negative number, and that's okay. It's just something that the calculator does. If you'd put in the future value as a negative number, then the present value would have come out as a positive number. In the end, the questions that I'm asking typically do not require you to put a negative in front of it. So like the question is, what's the future liability? Well, it's $56 million, $56.22 million. So just try and answer the question. But one of the things that I think about, like with this problem, maybe I would think, well, in 17 years, I'm going to have to, if I'm the company, I'm going to have to pay out 225. So maybe I'll put negative 225 as my future value, and then my present value would be a positive number. But really, it doesn't matter, because if you'd put negative 56 million, I would still give you the full points. But in most cases, you don't need to worry about that. We're just trying to figure out what is the amount. The amount is $56 million. That's what they owe in today's dollars. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Next one is a future value question. Okay, so let me. Okay, so we've got future value. Again, on the exam, it's not going to have future value. It's not going to say what we're trying to calculate in the front. You're going to have to figure it out by looking at the question. So in this one, the question is, Marge Folsom is to deposit $3,000 in an investment account that is expected to earn 12% per year. To what value does Marge expect this deposit to have grown to in 4 years? So what are we trying to figure out?
Future value.
Yeah, so we're trying, exactly. So with that question, we're trying to see what is it going to grow to 4 years from now? What is the future value 4 years from now? So we'll do that. So in this case, Marge is going to deposit $3,000. So what is that $3,000? If we're looking at our calculator buttons, we're trying to figure out future value. So what do we already know then? We already know present value. Today, it's worth $3,000. Good. So what is I?
12%.
Good.
12%.
N is 4. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and calculate this. Remember to clear your register by hitting second clear TVM. So we're going to put in 3,000 for present value, PV. We're going to put 12 for I, and we're going to put 4 for N. Now we're going to hit the compute button and click future value. Okay, so what is the future value? If this is earning 12% annually for 4 years, what is it going to be worth 4 years from now?
4,720.
Yep. And give me,
2 decimals.
yeah, 2 decimals. So
Decimals.
it'd be 56, right?
Decimals. 56. Right.
Okay, McCall, did you get that?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. What about you, Sam?
Yes, I got that.
Perfect. Okay. So these are some of the easier ones. These are lump sum problems. We're just taking either a future value and trying to figure out what the present value is, or we're trying to take the present value and figure out what the future value is. But sometimes the problem will give us both the present value and the future value, and we'll need to either calculate and figure out what I is or N is. So let's see if we can find one of those. This one is a good one because we're trying to figure out the number of periods. Okay, so we already know what the present value and future value is, and we already know what the interest rate is. In this case, we're given 3 different interest rates to try. But let's just do it with the first one with 4%. Okay, so I'll read the question. It says, how long will it take for $400 to grow to $1,000 at the interest rate specified? So let's just do 4%. Okay, so how long? So we're trying to figure out how many periods, what is the number of periods it will take? So we don't know what N is. That's what we're trying to figure out. What is the present value?
400.
400, that's what we're starting with. Okay, and what is the future value?
1,000.
But what do we need to do to this 1,000? If we have both the present value and the future value, and we're going to put them into our calculator, one of those has to be negative.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. So it could be the 400. We could say the 400 is negative, or it could be the 1,000. And it really doesn't matter which one you choose. They just can't be the same sign. So one of them has to be positive, one of them has to be negative. And what is I? Oh, we're going to do 4%. Okay, so let's use our calculators. Don't forget to clear time value of money registers. So 400 is present value 1,000. And don't hit the negative button. You have to hit the plus/minus button to change the sign. So don't hit subtract, hit plus minus. And that is our future value is negative 1,000. And then 4 is our I. Hit compute and then hit N. What did you get?
I got 23.36 periods.
23.36. Did anybody else get that?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you tell me how to set the 1,000 to be negative?
Yes, yeah. So that is, so I'm going to try and show you on my screen. So see in the very bottom, right next to the dot or the period, there's a plus/minus button. Do you see that?
Yep.
Hit that button. So you'll type 1,000 and then hit that button. And
Okay.
then you hit the future value button. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Excellent. Sam, what did you get?
That was my answer, 23.36.
Excellent. Yutong,
Yeah.
have you got it yet?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so 23.4 years or 23.36. That's exactly right. Now, what we can do at this point, here's a little trick on the calculator I want to show you. Without clearing our time value of money, we can just change the percentage and then compute again. So I'm going to type 16 and hit I. That's for 16%. And then I can hit compute in, and it'll give me the number. So it kept in memory the 400. It kept in memory the negative 1,000. And all I changed was I. So what did you guys get for that? Should be 6.1736 is what I got. Okay, so if you're only going to change one, we lost Yutong. If you're only going to change one variable, like in this problem, you can leave everything else the same and just change that one variable and compute it again. So that's nice. It saves you time on calculating. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, so I think looking at the remainder of the problems, present value, future value, all of these are fairly basic. I want to move on to the next set of questions, because these start to get a little bit more complicated. Okay, share. Now let's move to lecture number 7. Okay, so question at the end of lecture number 7. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Thanks, McCall. Okay, so so we've got we're looking for the loan balance. Okay, loan balance. In the question, in the test again, it won't give you this, it won't give you the hint. You'll have to figure it out from the words. But it says, you are examining a customer's outstanding car loan. The loan has 22 monthly payments of $249.49 remaining and has an interest rate of 11.2% compounded monthly. Sorry. So the question is, what is the current balance of the loan? Assume that a payment has just been made and the next payment is exactly 1 month away. So what we've got 22 months of payments left. The payments are $249.49 and we're at 11.2%. This is an important concept that we use later on in a multi-step problem. Is what is the balance of a loan? The balance of a loan is the present value of the remaining payments. Okay, so let me type that out again. So the balance of the loan is equal to the present value of remaining payments. Okay, so we need to know that for other types of problems, but it's important to remember that here. So let's calculate what is the present value of the remaining payments. What do we know? Do we know in? How many payments are left?
22.
22, good. Okay. What is the payment?
The 249.
Yep, 249.49. And I.
11.2.
Okay, here's the trick though. 11.2 divided by 12. You see this? So it has an interest rate of 11.2% compounded monthly. And so these are monthly payments, but we're not paying 11.2% per month. That's the annual amount. Okay, and most questions on the test will be a little more clear than that. But in this case, because we're dealing with monthly payments, we need a monthly interest rate. Okay, and we're trying to figure out what is the present value. Okay, so that's what we know. Future value will be 0 because the loan will be paid off. You don't have to put that in because when we clear our time value of money, it sets everything to 0. Okay, so future value is automatically at 0 if you clear your time value of money registers. Okay, so I'm going to put in, and I want you guys to do this too. So let's put in the number of payments. There are 22 in. The payment is $249.49. So I do that and hit the payment button. And then for I'm going to type 11.2. And I'm going to hit divide by 12, and I'm going to hit equals. At this point, I should have 0.9333 on my calculator. That is what now I'm going to hit the I over Y button. So you can see I over Y now equals 0.93333. Okay, so that way the calculator stores all of the decimal places way past 4 decimal places. So you're going to want to do the calculation 11.2 divided by 12, hit equals, and then immediately hit I over Y, and it'll store the full unrounded version of the number. Okay, so now we're going to compute present value. Hit compute, PV. What is the current loan balance?
4,941.19.
Correct. Did either McCall or Sam, did you guys get the same thing?
Could
No,
you
that's
tell me
what
what the actual formula is for to calculate that?
To calculate the time value of money
Yeah.
calculation? Okay, so you're having to calculate the present value of an annuity. So the annuity formula, are you planning on using the annuity formula on the exam?
Yeah.
Okay, Well, you can absolutely do that. Let's see if we've got that over here. I think we might have an annuity formula.
Would it be the 1 minus the present value over the interest rate?
So the present value formula, actually the formulas are right here. So let me pull them up. Just want to make sure that it's being communicated to you in the exact same way so that I don't create confusion. So what, and it's totally fine if you want to use the formulas. However, you may want to consider using your calculator. Do you have a calculator?
I think my brother might, but I also have to do this for my accounting class, so I'm trying to learn both ways.
Both ways. Gotcha. Okay, so and let me just find it. Actually, we've got it in the PowerPoint presentation. I apologize. I just want to make sure that I'm not confusing anybody by showing a different formula or a different way. EAR, perpetuities. Compounding. On balance. I apologize. Kate, it wasn't in that lecture, so that's why I'm just trying to get to the right lecture. Okay, so here we go. Let me share this with you. Okay, so the present value of an annuity equals, oh, this is, sorry, let me go up, sorry. Solving for annuities. So what is the present value of this annuity in this example? So the present value of annuity, which is what we're talking about. When I say annuity, that means equal payments, like a loan, like a car loan. So you're going to take this formula. So it's the payment times 1 minus 1 over 1 plus k to the n, all divided by k. So what I would do is I would go through these practice problems if you are choosing to use the formula, and make sure you get the same answer as you do when we use the time value of money keys on the calculator.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. So let's jump back to question 7. Okay, so we got the correct answer for this first question, which is what is the current loan balance. The second one is what will the balance of the loan, what will be the balance of the loan after the next payment is made? So really, instead of it being 22 for our number, there's only going to be 21 payments because we just made a payment. So all we have to do is change n to be 21 instead of 22. Just like we did with the interest rate when we were looking at 4, 8, or 16 as the interest rate. In this case, I can type 21, hit n, and then hit compute present value, and I will get the same answer that's being displayed here, 4,737. Okay. Any other questions about that one? Okay, remaining term of the loan. In this case, we've got both a present value and a payment, and we've got an interest rate, and we're trying to calculate n. Let me just see. Oh, here's our annuity formula right here. It was in the same document. I apologize. We could have gone there. Okay. Let's do an EAR problem. Equivalent annual rate. Okay, so in question number 3, it says you are considering a car loan for an amount of $12,480. The loan will require you to make monthly payments for 4 years, and the loan's interest rate is 9% compounded monthly. So those are the things we know. The present value is $12,480. There's going to be monthly payments for 4 years and 9% compounded monthly. So if we look at the question, it says, what is the effective annual rate? The effective annual rate. And if you want to use the formula, you're welcome to use the formula with the calculator. And I went over this on the previous presentation from last week on how to use the calculator. So if you have more questions on how to do this, then I recommend you going back to that presentation. But let's do this right here. So we know that the rate is 9%, and we know the number of periods is 12. And so let's enter that into our calculator. So in this case, we're going to hit the second button, and then we're going to hit the number 2 button, which is iconv. Okay, so what we're trying to get here is we're going to put in, so right now it's showing me nom equals 0. That's what we're going to try and calculate, is the nominal rate. So we know what the effective rate is. It's 9. So I'm going to put 9 in and hit enter. So 9 equals EFF. I'm going to hit down. C over Y is 12. So I'm going to hit 12 and hit enter. So it tells me C over Y equals 12. And then I'm going to hit compute on nom. Oh, sorry, nominal is 9%. I got it backwards. I apologize. So I got the wrong answer because I put 9 for effective, but in reality, we're trying to put 9 for nominal. Okay, so let's instead put 9 and hit enter for nominal. So you can probably see that 9. And then we're going to compute effective. Sorry, I computed effective annual rate, and that's 9.38. So with this, with the calculator, it's easy to figure out either the nominal rate or the effective rate, or even the number of compounding periods. If you don't know that, if you know at least 2 of them, you can figure out the third. The same with our time value of money problems. If you know 3 of them, you can figure out the 4th. With the effective annual rate problems, you can calculate the 3rd one. Okay, so let me see if there's a compound interest. Let's do this EAR one again, because I feel like we want to know this a little bit more. Okay, so EAR. Suppose you have a choice between 3 mortgage loan offers. Which do you prefer if you are the home buyer? Which would you prefer if you were the loaning bank? So let's just look at it from the home buyer perspective. So in this case, let me just delete this because we're not using HP, we're using the TI. Okay, so let's look at each of these. You've got one loan that is 8.23% compounded monthly, one loan 8.25% compounded quarterly, and another loan 8.47% compounded annually. So what we're trying to figure out, the effective annual rate gives us a way to compare these apples to apples. So whatever the effective annual rate is, once we calculate that, we can compare them. Right now, we can't compare these because they're not the same. One's monthly, one's quarterly, one's annually. But we can't compare them until we get them into an effective annual rate. So let's do this. So these are the nominal rates. 8.25 and 8.47 are the nominal rates. We're trying to figure out what is the effective annual rate. So going back to our calculator using the iconv, so you can hit second, then hit the number 2, which is iconv, and we're going to enter in for the nominal rate, this first one, 8.23. So I hit 8.23 and hit enter. So it should show 8.23. Then I'm going to hit up, and I'm going to figure out, I'm going to put in what is my compounding period per year. In this first one, it's 12. So I'm going to type 12 and hit enter. So it should say C over Y equals 12. And then I'm going to hit it up one more time. And this is the EFF, effective annual rate, is what we're trying to compute. So I'm going to hit compute. And is anybody working on this? Can you tell me what it is? What is the effective annual rate for A?
I got 8.55.
Yes, yeah. 8.5477. So 8.55. Yutong, did you get the same thing?
Yeah.
Awesome. Sam, are you able to do this? Are you doing it via formula or are you doing it on your calculator?
Yeah, that was my voice. I got the 8.5. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. McCall, did you get it?
Yeah.
You sound a little uncertain about that.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. Awesome. Okay, so let's do the next one. Now remember, with this one, we have to change both the nominal rate to 8.25. So we hit 8.25 and hit enter. But we also have to change the compounding periods per year. How many compounding periods per year are there? If we say
Four?
yeah, that's right. So whenever you see quarterly, you know it's 4 times a year. So you're going to enter for C over Y, you're going to hit 4 and then hit the enter button. Now we can hit up and we can compute the effective annual rate. So what is the effective annual rate? Yutong, you have it?
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. McCall,
I got
I'm
8.
still working on it.
Okay, go ahead.
I got 8.49, but I don't know if I have to set the EFF back to 0.
Okay, so you don't. I got something different though, so let's do this again. Okay, so push your up arrow. Tell me what you have for num. Do you have 8.25 in for num?
I did, yes.
Okay, and then you push up arrow and you've got 4 for C over Y.
Yes.
And then for effective, you should just be able to hit compute. You don't necessarily need to clear it. I got 8.5088. But you got 8.4. Let me see if I can clear my work. Maybe I'm not on the actual calculator. I forgot to bring it. I'm on the Apple version of this. And it's free. So let me just clear everything again. So nominal is 8.25. C over Y is 4. I'm getting 8.50. What, Yutong, did you have it?
No, I'm sorry. Can you show me the process again?
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so so the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to hit the second button.
Yeah. And then the
number 2.
Yeah.
And then the first thing that it says is nom, N-O-M, right?
Yes.
Nom equals. So in this right here, you're going to type 8.25
Okay.
and then hit the enter button, which is at the top. ENTER.
Okay, get it.
Okay, so now it should say nom equals 8.25.
Yes.
Now, right next to the enter button is the up arrow. So now it's C over Y. That stands for compounding periods per year. So
Mhm.
for letter B here, it's quarterly. So we're going to hit the number 4 and then hit enter.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it should be C over Y equals 4. Then hit up one more time and it says EFF.
Yes.
EFF is the effective annual rate. Hit the compute button, CPT.
Mhm.
What did you get?
8.51.
0.88, 8.508.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so Sam, something's going on with yours. What are you still getting 8.49?
No, I got 8.51 now.
Oh, okay, good. Excellent. McCall, what about you?
Yeah, got it.
You guys are awesome. Okay, let's do this last one. Then I feel like you understood EAR. Like I mentioned, there are several multiple choice problems where you need to know how to calculate that on your calculator. Okay, or you can use the formula if you want. Okay, let's do the last one. So the last one, we're gonna, for nom, so push the up arrow and we're just gonna type 8.47 and hit enter for nom. 8.47. Okay, so I've got 8.47. Nom stands for nominal. Okay, how often is it compounded?
1.
1. Okay, so we hit the number 1 and hit enter. So C over Y equals 1. Now you push the arrow up and hit, for EFF, you're going to hit compute. Okay, so what did you get? And what do we know when it's only compounded annually?
I got 8.47, and I think it's not a coincidence that they're the same.
Yes, so exactly right. So the effective annual rate for something that's compounded annually is the nominal rate. So 8.47, we didn't really need to use our calculator for that. If we know it's annual, then we could have just put 8.47. So it was 8.5088, right? And then this one is 8.47. Okay, so in this case, if you're the home buyer, which one are you going to prefer? You want to pay the lowest rate possible. So you're going to pick the annual one, compounded annually. Now the nominal rate is higher, obviously, but compounding makes it so that the other ones end up being higher as an effective annual rate. So if I am the loaning bank, though, I'm going to want to earn the highest rate. So which one would I choose?
The monthly one.
Yeah, A, exactly right. Okay, so, and you know, there are times where we are faced with 2 different options, financing options, and you know, knowing how to calculate the equivalent annual rate gives us the ability to compare them in a meaningful way, and so that's why we do that. Okay, so that's EAR. Now let's jump to yes, we are going to jump now to the end of lecture 8 problems. And these are the multi-step ones, and these are the most challenging. And so I want to work through them. Okay, so the first one, you have, let me just check one thing, just a second. Okay, so this one will be helpful for you for the exam. You have just graduated from SUU with an undergraduate business degree. Your plan is to work 4 years and then pursue an MBA. you'll need to save money for that major outlay called tuition. Still, it's been tough being a poor student, and you also want to live it up a bit too. Okay, so we're going to save some, we're going to spend some over the next 4 years as we're preparing for our MBA. You reach a compromise, you'll save $500 a month starting at the end of this month for the first 2 years on the job. Then you'll live life to the hilt the next 2 years. So we're going to save 2 years, we're going to spend everything the last 2 years. But at least you're saving, so we're going to blow everything, every paycheck, and save nothing for the last 2 years. But at least your savings from the first 2 years will continue to grow during the second 2 years. Suppose that you'll invest your savings in a stock fund that on average returns 1.25% per month. And we're going to assume monthly compounding. On average, how much do you expect to have available when you start your MBA? So this requires us to do two different things. And the timeline, this will be very, very helpful as you work on your exam. Okay, so what we have here is we have two problems. The first problem is the future value of annuity problem. And then the next problem is the future value of a lump sum. So we've got 2 years where we're going to put in $500 a month, every month. For how many months? Oh, 24. I can't draw with this. Okay. Okay, so let me clear that drawing. Okay, so 24 months. So that is our first problem. So we need to figure out what is the future value of this annuity up to 24 months, up to this period. And then, so that's problem one. So step one is to figure out what is the value from here to here. And then we're not contributing monthly anymore, right? Now our lump sum is only going to grow without additional payments in for the next 2 years. So step one is the first half, step two is the second half. So let's start with step one. So you can see how when we read this, it can look pretty complicated, but what we have to do is we have to look at the problem and we have to break it down into bite-sized chunks. So for the first one we are going to, so from the timeline, we can see that we have an ordinary annuity that runs for 24 months. So let's calculate that ordinary annuity together. So, and Sam, if you want to, or McCall, I can't remember which one of you was using the formulas, if you want to do that, the future value of an annuity formula. What we've got here is we know, well, let's start with present value. What is present value?
0.
0, good. So if we've cleared our time value of money, this is optional. We don't have to put that in, right? Okay, what else do we know?
Payment 500.
Payment is 500, good. Okay, what about in?
24.
Good, 24. And I?
15.
So I is 15 divided by 12.
12. Okay, fine.
Now let's look at this problem. It actually told you what the monthly interest amount is. 1.25% is 15 divided by 12. So read the words carefully, because if we didn't have this timeline, because this timeline wouldn't be given to you on the test, and k equals 15 would not have been given you. If all you were given was this paragraph, it says 1.25, but the most important part of that is per month. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So if what it'll normally say is, 15% annually compounded monthly. Or it'll say something like if it doesn't say anything, if it just says 15%, then we assume that that is the annual rate. Also, part of this is you've got to think about it from a logical standpoint. You know, is it fair? Is it a good return to earn 1.25% in a year? You kind of think, well, that's probably a monthly rate. Likewise, if it said 15%, we know we're not going to earn 15% per month. By the way, if you find an investment that is 15% per month, please let me know, because I want it as well. But it's just 1.25%. So really kind of take a look at it. And if you think, that just doesn't seem right, maybe it's not right. But in this case, it's 1.25. So what is the future value of this annuity? So don't forget to clear your time value of money. So 500 payment, 24 is in, and 1.25 is I. So compute future value. What'd you guys get?
59077.6206.
Okay, I got something different. Maybe I put something in wrong. McCall or Sam, what did you get?
I'm still typing it in.
Okay,
The period's 12, right? Or
so
24?
in is 2 years, but it's monthly, right? So it's 24. So in is 24.
There it is.
Payment is 500. And 1.25 is I. Second is future value. Oh, not second, sorry. Dang it, I need to start over again. Okay, 500 payment. I do better on my calculator than on my phone. I compute future value. Okay, Yutong,
Yeah.
will you enter yours in again? Because I think you may have gotten it wrong.
My previous answer is 59077.6206.
Okay. I got-
think. Mhm.
Oh, actually, we've got the answers right here. So let's see if. Okay, so I got this. I got 13,894.04. So try entering in again. 500 for payment. I is 125 and 24 is in. And then solve for future value. Sam or McCall, have you gotten it?
I got the 13,000. Yeah.
I screwed up on my calculation.
Yeah. McCall, are you the one that's doing the formula?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, here's the formula right here. Okay. So in interest of time, Yutong, I'm going to move on to the next part.
Yeah.
So the next part is now we have this 13,894.04, and we're 2 years into this, but we're not going to deposit any more money into that account. We're just going to let it grow at that same rate of 1.25% per month for another 24 months. Okay. So what do we know now? So our future value was 13,894.04. So now we're standing at this point of time. So now we're going to use this amount as our present value 2 years from now. Okay, so present value equals 13,894.04. Payment is 0. In It's going to be 24. I is going to be the same, 1.25. So now we need future value. Okay. So what is, let's clear our time value of money registers. Okay, so 894.04 is present value. 24 is in, and 1.25 equals I. So what is the future value?
$1,872.1494.
Correct. Let's just make sure we got that. Yep. So there it is. Okay, so this is 2 steps, you can see. Step 1 was the annuity, the stream of payments, and step 2 was that lump sum now at 24 months that we're going to keep invested for the next 24 months. So it's a lump sum. So you can see how it's 2 steps. So be prepared and ready to do those 2 steps. Okay. Okay, let's move to the next problem. Any questions on that before we move on?
Nope.
Okay. Let's do this car loan one. I think this is an important one. And what we'll do, I think we're going to end on this one. This will be the last one. If you have any questions, though, after we're done, please feel free to contact me. And I hope this was helpful. So let's do this. So car loans, contracted versus market rates. Okay, so there's a concept that we introduced in this lecture, lecture 8, about market rates versus contracted rates. So a contracted rate is like a special rate that a bank will offer, but it's not what the going market rate is. You know, right now, I don't know what car loans are, but let's say they're at 4%. But a car company could offer 0%. That's not the market rate. That is the contracted rate, which is different. So we look at contracted versus market rates. Whenever we discount a time value of money problems, whatever K is always the market rate. Okay, so we will use contracted rates to calculate a payment, because if it's 0% or if it's 5% or 12% for the loan, but the market rate is what we'll use to determine what the K is, how to discount it. And you'll see that as we go through this problem. Okay, so let me read the problem and we can talk about it. And if you have questions as we go through it, please stop me. So you are interested in purchasing a Toyota 4Runner, which has a sticker price of $20,000. So this is an English phrase that may not be familiar to those who are not from America or England. Sticker price just means it is what's advertised. It's the sticker that's sitting on the car window. This is being sold for $20,000. So that's the sales price. Sticker price is the sales price. The salesperson has said that Brown County Toyota can give you a good deal if you use one of their financing plans. So he returns after about 15 minutes with 2 options. Which one is the best deal? Okay, so the first one is you could go with nothing down. That means you're not going to pay anything immediately, but your interest rate is going to be 12% APR financing. And this is the competitive market rate. So you could pay the competitive market rate of 12% for 48 months with a monthly payment of $460. The offer also features a $2,500 rebate that will arrive in 3 months. Wow, this is complicated. Okay, so let's look at this one first. Okay, So where do we begin? For option 1, here we are right here, option 1. You guys see that? For option 1, we don't even know the present value amount that was financed, right? The sticker price is $20,000. And we know what the payment is. But we don't know that we paid the sticker price. We just know what the payment is, we know the time frame, and we know that it's at 12%. So let's calculate what is the present value. What did we pay for the car? So let's enter in what I know, what we know. So that's where I always start. I say to myself, okay, what do I know? And let's start working from that. So we know that payment is $460. Okay. We know that I equals what? What is I?
Would it be 0.12 divided by 12?
Yes, 12 divided by 12. So that equals 1. Okay. And then what is N?
48?
48, good. Okay, so what is our present value? How much are we financing?
Didn't you say we didn't know that, or?
So we will need to know this. We didn't know it. It didn't tell us in the problem.
Okay.
So the sticker price is $20,000, right?
Yeah.
But if we're good at negotiating with the salesman, we're not going to pay the full sticker price. We will pay something less. So if we need to calculate, well, what is the amount? What is the present value? What is the purchase price that we're actually paying? So I'm going to type 460 equals payment. I is 1. And N is 48. So compute present value. What did you guys get?
460.
I'm not sure whether I got the correct answer, but my calculator shows that it's 17468.0214. Is it correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Great.
Okay, but there's something a little different about this. So we know this is the purchase price. This is how much we agreed to pay for the car. We're going to pay $17,468 with the exception of this little tidbit of information. So we're going to receive a rebate, right? So the rebate is getting money back from the dealership.
Mhm.
But do we get it today?
Nope.
We get it in 3 months. So what we're going to have to do, that's in 3 months, it's going to be worth $2,500. What is that worth today? Does that make sense?
Yes.
We need to figure out what is the present value of this lump sum payment that we are receiving, or this lump sum rebate. So what do we know about that? We know that the future value is $2,500. In how many months is it?
3.
3 months. And what is I?
1.
Remember, the market rate is 12%. So 12 divided by 12, because there are 12 compounding periods, is 1. Okay, so what is the present value of this rebate? Okay, let's calculate this.
3,779.32.
Okay, and that's not correct. And the reason why I know it's not correct is because
I didn't clear the register.
you didn't clear the register. That's right.
Okay, I'll do that again.
So the other way to know that it's not correct is the future value is going to be more than the present value. Present value should be less.
Okay.
And the reason being is because of the time value of money, if somebody says, well, I'm going to give you $10,000 2 years from now, well, what is that $10,000 really worth to me today? Because I don't have it in hand. I can't do anything with it. You know, in today's dollars, because of inflation and other things, that $10,000 would be worth less today. And so it should be less than $2,500.
2,426.47.
McCall, what did you get?
For what would we plug in for the interest?
So interest, that is a perfect question. So the answer is right here. It tells us that this car loan would be at 12%, and that is the same as the competitive market rate.
Okay.
So we always use the competitive market rate for I. So I is 12, but we're dealing with monthly compounding, right? So it's 12% divided by 12 compounding periods equals 1. So even though we're only going to get to compound it for 3 months, this is the monthly compounding rate. It's 1%. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, but then do we plug into the present value formula to find out that question?
So what we've done is we figured out, and I don't know if I'm answering your question, we know in 3 months' time we're going to get $2,500 rebate.
Yeah.
So what is that worth today? We're going to subtract this amount from what we paid to get the true present value cost. So the net present value equals $17,468.02 minus the rebate check, which is worth in today's dollars $2,426.47. Okay, so one of you please calculate that for us.
$15,041.55.
Okay, I think we got something.
Oh, it's 5.6. Never mind.
Yeah, so it should be 15,000. Yeah, okay, good. So you can see what we're trying to do when we compare two different financing options. Financing option 1 was 12%, paying this much a month, and we get this much rebate. So how would we compare that to this financing option number 2, which we'll go over here in just a second? What we need to do is get to our present value. What is the present value of this loan? And so in this case, we're able to calculate the present value is the present value of all the payments minus the present value of the rebate. Okay, so these are complicated. These are the most complicated problems. They're difficult. So don't feel badly if it doesn't come as easy to you. 0.26. Actually, is it 2.5? Anyways, okay. So that was number 1. So we're going to compare this $15,011 to option number 2. Okay, option number 2, you can choose to go with nothing down and 0% APR financing of the sticker price over 48 months. So what is our present value? What are we paying for it? So let me step back. Step 1 of this problem is we are going to try and we're going to try and calculate what is the present value of all of our payments under this option. Because in order to compare both of them, we need to discount them both by the market rate. So this first problem, we've discounted it by the market rate and gotten $15,011.25. So in this one, we're not paying market rate, are we? Paying 0%. And so because of that, what we need to do is we need to figure out what is our payment, and then we're going to figure out what is the present value of those payments. So the solution here is present value of payments, and we have to use the market rate in order to figure out what is the present value of those payments. So the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out, well, what is the payment? So what do we know? What is the present value?
460, or the payment's 460, isn't it? The monthly payment?
That was for option one.
Oh, okay.
So we're comparing two different financing options. For the first financing option, we will pay 12%. Our payments are $460, but the sticker price has been dropped to $17,000 and we get a rebate. Okay, so the first one was more complicated. The second one's easier. We're going to pay the sticker price at 0%. Okay, so the present value is the sticker price. Because it tells us right there, we're going to pay nothing down, and we're going to have 0% APR financing of the sticker price. So this is our purchase price. Now, in the exam, the questions are going to be a little more clear and easier to understand. But in this case, it tells us that we're going to finance the sticker price for how many months? What is in? McCall, did I lose you?
It's 48 months, right?
48. Yeah, that's
Right.
right. Okay, now that's fine. And what is I?
0.
Whoops,
0.
Yeah, 0.
Okay, so there's more than one way to calculate this because I is 0, but let's go ahead and enter it into our time value of money. So remember to clear your register. So 20,000 is the present value. 48 is in. And I is 0. Now we're going to compute payment.
$41,666.6667.
So I've got, $416.6667. So we're looking for the monthly payment. Did you put more zeros in?
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. McCall, you figuring it out?
Yeah, I'm figuring it out.
Awesome. Okay, so this is our payment. This is how much we're going to pay every month. So what is the present value of these payments using our market rate? So as I mentioned before, in order to compare the two, we have to discount them both by the market rate. So in this case, we're trying to figure out the present value at the market rate. So step 1 is to calculate the payment amount. Step 2, we need to know, we know what the payment is. Payment is $416.6667. In is 48 months. We already know that. But the difference here is we're going to discount the stream of payments by the market interest rate. Do you guys remember what that is?
One.
That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, good. Okay, so now let's calculate the present value. Remember to clear your register. So payment, so 416.6667 is the payment. 48 is in, 1 is I. So what is the present value?
15,822.4844.
Yes. Okay, so now we are prepared to compare the two. So option 1, which was nothing down, 12%, paying $460 a month, but getting a $2,500 rebate, the present value is $15,011. So that's what the true cost of the car is, $15,011.25. With this one, the true cost of the car is $15,822.48. So which one would we pick as the buyer of the car?
What was the first answer?
So the first answer was 1511. And the second answer is 15,822.
Will we choose the first one since it's cheaper?
Exactly. So if we're the buyer, we want to pay the lowest price. So we would pick this first one. Now this first one, we're paying 12% a month, 12% annual, which works out to be 1% a month. And we might think, oh, well, wouldn't it be better to pay 0%? But we're paying the full sticker price of $20,000 when we buy at 0%. So we're better off to pay 12% but get a discount plus a rebate, rather than paying full price but at 0%. So again, we're trying to get apples to apples. What is the present value of each of these and compare them? Okay. School loan, that's similar. I think we've probably worn everybody out mentally. My recommendation is go through each of these practice problems again, both for all 3 lectures. Make sure you're comfortable with them. And I think once you feel comfortable with each of those, I think you'll be set and ready for the exam. Any questions, McCall or Yutong?
No,
Nope.
thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks for joining, and I'll post this later today so that you'll be able to view it online again.
Mm.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, you guys have a wonderful rest of the day.
You too.
You too.